Thanks very much, Mr. Chairman. I really appreciate this opportunity. I was very struck by what Senator Cornyn said because I believe that the people of this nation want us to do our job and do it well. The Congress is in historic low. People say a pox on both their houses. They can't get anything done. And now we have the highest court of the land, the be-all and end-all of the American justice system. And this president is being denied an appointment, which historically has never, ever happened before. As a matter of fact, 14 times presidents have nominated, and the Senate has confirmed in the final year of a presidency. Why select this president? That's something I think we all have to deal with, and we all have to see how history regards this. But I know one thing. This is not going to reflect well on this body. I think it's only going to plummet us further and further down. It's one thing to argue among ourselves about legislation. It's another thing to inject the court into this, the Supreme Court into it. And I think what the president has done is put a man before us who is not an ideologue on either side, who has superb qualifications, has the disposition, the credentials, the education, the service, the judicial restraint to be an appropriate tiebreaker in a situation. I can't think of anyone better than Merrick Garland. And yet, here we are. I felt a thrill run through me when I was sitting in the Rose Garden. I thought, this is why I voted for the president. And then the qualifications came forward. And I went back to Oklahoma City, and I remembered what happened there and the enormous, huge loss of life, the dastardly event, and then the cleanness and appropriateness of the investigation and the trial and the conviction. Like so many things that often get botched, this wasn't. And here we are. I came back. I turned on the television set thinking about Garland's qualifications, and the first thing I heard was a senator on the other side of the aisle saying, this isn't about qualifications. This isn't about qualifications. What it's about, he didn't say this, I'm saying this, is denying this president an appointment to the Supreme Court. I got a little bit heartened this morning when I picked up the Hill, and I want to read something from that. Senator Susan Collins, Republican of Maine, who helped confirm Garland to the D.C. Circuit in 1997, said she would, quote, very carefully review the judge's record in the 19 years since the vote. White House officials reached out to the moderate senator this week to see whether she would meet with Garland. Collins said yes, and that she would do so following the 2-week recess that begins next week. Here's her quote. One-on-one exchanges with judicial nominees frequently gives me a very good understanding of their temperament, their intellect, their fidelity to the Constitution, and rule of law. So I look forward to sitting down with him, Collins said. The Senate works best when we follow the normal order, end quote. Thank God for Susan Collins. The weight of what she has said and the way she has said it should be so obvious to all of us. To deny this man even a meeting? Well, I probably do 20, 25 meetings a week with constituents. We normally see in our office that everyone who comes in from a state of 40 million people has an opportunity to meet, either with staff or me. Here we have a nominee to the highest court in the land, and individuals are saying, we will not even sit down and meet with that individual. How is that sustainable? I don't understand it. And it's interesting to me, I've sat on 6 or 7 Supreme Court nominations. And I remember when Senator Specter was questioning a nominee and questioning on stare decisis. And Senator Specter really believed in stare decisis. And the nominees were all saying, yes, I believe precedent is important. I will follow the doctrine of stare decisis. And then, of course, they get there and they don't. Now, either we're going to restore some credibility to the process and we're going to leave the Supreme Court out of the political process, or I really worry about where this thing goes next. I think the people in the ratings of the United States Senate and the House of Representatives really have lost faith in this body. And I think this adds to it because it becomes one more instance where we don't do the work of the people. Ladies and gentlemen, the work of the people is to evaluate this nominee. It's not to say, I have made the decision I will not give this president an appointment when 14 other presidents have had the ability to make the appointment in their final year. That's not the way this body should function. And so I really view this with a large amount of shame. I want to be proud of my colleagues. I want to be proud of my tenure on this committee. I sat on it for 23 years. I try to do the work. I do the best I can. I want to do the people's business. Doing the people's business is holding a meeting with this man by career alone deserves a meeting. And yet, he's going to be denied a meeting. He's going to be denied the effort to come and sit before us hour after hour as it is, answer every question in the book, give every senator on this table the opportunity to assess whether he's sincere, what his views are on judicial restraint, what his views are on the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and who knows? The other side might well be surprised. The other side might well come out and say, you know, this court will be well served by this man. But no, they're not even going to provide this opportunity. For shame. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.